distracting. Okay, once again, you are at an end of a bad cycle. You're breaking away from it. You're approaching, you're out of that dark tunnel and you're coming into the light. The Eight of Swords in the reverse position indicates to me a lot of information came to light and you're no longer feeling stuck, okay? You're no longer a victim to your environment. You're no longer holding yourself hostage, and you're no longer bound to unhealthy things that have been pretty detrimental, that have been weighing you down. So good for you, Pisces. What's coming in for you here is the Empress energy, which indicates to me that it is the brand new beginning. It's coming into a sense of empowerment. And I feel like for some reason, when I do readings for Pisces, I'm getting a lot of feminine energy, possibly mainly because a lot of the Piscean viewers are women, but I don't sense that for the other signs. Just I sense it especially for Pisces and Capricorn. A lot of Capricorn women and a lot of Piscean women. So regardless of your gender though, I do feel this is the ultimate card of empowerment. Knowing where you've been, even though the past has been problematic, it's brought you where you are today. So you are not falling victim to your past experiences. You're learning from the past and you're using, the strength, the lessons that were inherent in the past in order to make better, wiser, more well-informed decision and in order to be a stronger, more resilient person. So this is a card of a survivor. In the past position, these two cards together indicates to me that, it was something that happened over 5 months ago. The past 5 months have been, dealing with the aftermath. And now you're in a good space. You're in a very, very good place right now to rebuild your life. I'm going to pull out the other cards here because two of Pentacles can go either way. Okay, so let's get through this spread here. I do feel for a lot of you who might have left, old relationships. When it comes to new relationships coming through, I do feel that there's definitely a spark of interest. You're feeling, you're trying to attract somebody into your environment. You're looking very good, and by proxy of getting dressed up, and by in the process of so right now I feel like your foundation is very firm. You're on good footing. You're letting go of the past. There isn't any doubt, any regrets. And there might be a person in your periphery that you're potentially interested in. It is signaling to me like it is a fire sign. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, okay? This could be their sun, moon, or rising. This is definitely somebody that you are admiring from afar, and you're trying to draw this person in by just by thinking about them, fantasizing about them, or even just I do feel that you're taking a step back because you don't know this person well enough yet. For a lot of you, this is a brand new person and you have like no background context of where this person is from. You don't really know how they are as a relationship partner. So there's still that, that first initial spark of attraction coming through, possibly the end of this month. And you're still trying to gauge where things are, which is good because, the cards are very solitary, which indicates to me, for those of you who might have left an old relationship, you're not in a frame of mind yet to date. So the cards coming out like this indicates to me that you see like objects. I mean, take this for aside. You see a lot of objects, swords and wands and things like that. So it indicates to me that everything is still up in the air. You haven't really decided on a course of action yet. You're still trying to just gauge things out. And a lot of you might just be gauging things out with a fire sign. And I do feel there is definitely physical attraction and it's mutual. However, I do sense that relationships will not solidify for this month. For those of you who are in stable relationship, there's definitely a lack of carve out some time to spend with your relationship partner, because I do feel he or she, whoever your relationship partner is, if you're in a couple stable relationship, he or she is it's somehow like they're not, their thoughts are not involved in this spread. They're kind of like at the end of it and they're looking away. So I do feel that there might have been, arguments coming through regarding past indiscretions, regarding a little bit of jealousy that might have happened in the past. If it's a grudge from the past, if you are, just looking like you're very attractive, I do feel there's a little bit of insecurity coming from your relationship partner. And some issues are surfacing regarding insecurity, regarding potentially, flirtation outside of the relationship. I don't sense there was, cheating, infidelity, or anything like that. But I do feel like perceived from your partner's end, he or she might think that you're flirting with other people. So you have to come back in and, put your pride aside. Don't get mad that they're accusing you. You have to realize that, why are they throwing this at me right now? We've been together for so long and they have no reason to doubt me. It's because of insecurity. It's because you're in a good space right now, and it's because they're insecure. So just try to appease their insecurity rather than escalating, the minor conflict, okay? I do sense that's going to get you further this month. At the same time, don't, I mentioned this before. I believe it was like 2 months ago when I said that it was the emotional response to spending. So, for example, you might be a little bit frivolous with money this month. So try to rein that in as well. You want the nicer things and you feel like, okay, well, I'm in a stable job, so I'm going to, splurge because the job is going to be around, a few months from now, so I can pay it back. Don't do that. Not for this month, and especially during the Mercury retrograde, because I do feel this is coming through for the first like half of the month, where there might be a lot of money leaving your wallet. There might be, trying to, a situation where you might be trying to either furnish a house, furnish your wardrobe, reinvent yourself after a painful relationship has ended. You're at a phase where you want to start dating and you want to look good and you want to feel good and you might splurge on that. So just be very careful about, expenditures. There might be situations where you're going out and you're trying to find the right one, and every time you go out you feel like, it's a lot of just money leaving your, there's just, quite a bit of money coming through. So I do feel that this is something you want to be mindful of, okay? In terms of, like I said, the cards here are pretty cut and dry. And I do feel that for those of you who are single and looking, there is a potential love interest, but this person is slow on the uptake. I don't feel a relationship solidifying this month. There's definitely attraction, flirtation. There's definitely interest and passion. But in terms of, two people being thrown together, I don't feel that's going to happen for this month, maybe next month. And we're going to see the bottom of the cards here. Okay, so you have Five of Wands in the reverse position. So definitely old conflicts are ending. So this month is all about ending the old, and you're in a kind of like a limbo transitional period where one thing is ending, another thing is like coming through for you. The very last few days of the month, And then in between the beginning and the very last few days of the month, there's this humdrum energy where things are kind of just like you're just existing. So I know it sounds horrible and it sounds very, very boring, but I do feel for a lot of you, you need this downtime. You've been through a lot and you need this downtime to recuperate, to pick up the pieces of your life and to do things that pamper you, to do things to restore your, to stabilize your foundation, okay? Because the Five of Cups here in the reverse position, in the upright position, it does indicate, regret, sorrow, that pity party that we throw for ourselves when things don't exactly go the way we want. In the reverse position, it indicates to me, as painful as whatever has ended in the past, you're done with moping around and you're going to take action. And I do feel following on the heels of that is the Ace of Wands and a new person coming through. So you're going to take some action to steer your life in the direction that you want. And there's definitely new projects for those of you who are looking for work. If you've been, struggling with like doing 2 part-time jobs in order to make the ends meet because you can't find like a full-time job, there's definitely a situation where the part-time job dissipates and it becomes a full-time gig for you. For those of you in the creative field, there's a lot of inspiration coming through by the end of this month. Singing, creative projects like art projects. If you've had like a writer's block, if you've had some type of blockages within the first week, it's definitely clearing up. So the time, what I'm sensing is this lull in events, major events happening, it's coming in approximately like from the 10th to around, the 25th. Okay, and it seems like such a long time of uneventful days going by, but it's actually a good time for your soul, your spirit to recharge so that you can have a burst of new inspiration coming through by the end of this month. So no news is good news. And I do feel, in general, not a lot of things are happening because I do feel this Seven of Swords, regardless, it's in the reverse position. So it's tied into the past. It's tied into the devil energy, something that we knew was unhealthy for us. We left it behind. We're still hearing about it. And we're still curious about how, if it's a person, if it's a work project, if it's somebody that, that you cared about, who threw you under the bus, for example. You're still hearing about it, and you're still hearing about, people getting their karmic dues. And you feel, you don't feel good about it, but you're not going to get sucked in, and you're not going to try to mend you're not going to be their safety net anymore because you realize that it's you're done playing martyr. You have better things to do. So you're not going to get sucked back in. Whatever it is they're dealing with, you're realizing that people have their own life lessons and they need to take care of things on their own, and they need to, just live right to begin with. So the communication is definitely stalled from your end because you know that you're not going to get sucked in. So no matter like how many messages that are coming through from the past, you're blocking it out. And I do feel, I'm getting this message for a lot of you. Singing, like music and art would actually be very therapeutic for you. I feel like even karaoke, if you do karaoke, if you sing, if you're a professional singer, if grab a few friends and just go and scream off the top of your lungs. I feel like it's actually very good therapy. So why don't you do that? It's corroborated with the Empress and the Ace of Wands, and I was seeing that. Throwing house parties. It's also a good time to do that. Surround yourself with loved ones. Have just a really fun, responsible time in a new home if you've recently moved into a new home. If you've recently moved away from a troublesome, living environment and you're trying to find a new home, this is definitely the month where the new home will be in the picture. When I see the Ace of Rods or the Ace of Wands, and there's a home in the background, I do feel that this is somebody who is in the market for a new home. Okay, so you might not be able to commit to it yet, or you might not have all the finances sorted out yet. I do feel that you are looking, you're in the market, and something is going to come in for you. And it's happening very, very swiftly. So for example, you're kind of debating, should I rent or should I own? And then boom, by the end of this month, this new home comes into the picture for you. And as a result of it, you're realizing it's within my budget. It's actually working out really well. I need a place to stay, so I might as well um, not filter my money in paying rent. I should just own a property out upright or upfront. And that's definitely coming through the end of this month, okay? Aside from that, I do feel, conflict is ending. You're putting a clear, definite block to people who might have been shady, to people who might have been evasive when you ask them questions. You're going to start living your life. And I do feel that when it comes to this fire sign figure in your life, I do sense you like this person, okay? I do feel that you are kind of like, I'm getting this image of somebody getting dressed up very, very nicely. And I don't sense strutting, but I do feel like, just it's not. So for example, if it's somebody in your work environment, you might, dress up very nicely and find opportunities to pass by their cubicle, for example. Or if you are in a, if it's a social setting, then whenever you know they're going to be around, you look very different. You look very dolled up versus when you know they're not going to be around. So the people around you are starting to notice it as well. And I also get that this person is very clueless. The fire sign is actually very clueless. So if you haven't really expressed yourself, mainly because I do feel that he or she is a little bit self-involved this month. I don't feel they're selfish or self-absorbed, but I do sense they're a little bit self-involved. They have some work situations they have to sort through. They have some residual major decision that they have to make with the Two of Swords in the reverse position. There might be, I'm feeling almost as if, I'm almost feeling as if they're just not ready to date just yet, especially for this month. So while you're looking very good, I do feel that, if the other person is not receptive, if you've expressed interest, and if the other person just happens to not be receptive, don't worry about it, because the next month is going to look better, okay? Because we're ending with the Ace of Swords and the King of Wands, which is an encapsulation of a very fiery, passionate energy. So it's definitely there. But in terms of gelling or solidifying a relationship, I don't sense it's there just yet for this month. So take it a little slow this month. Focus on, I do feel you want to focus on independence, okay? You want to, you're being injected here with fire energy. In the past, there was a codependent relationship. And in between, there are a lot of solitary people showing up. So the main theme of this month here is focus on your independence. So focus on doing the things, going out to a bar by yourself, even getting a drink, be responsible. You don't want to get roofied, but you know what I mean. Just get a go out by yourself and try to cultivate that sense of independence, that sense where I'm comfortable in my skin, I can go out on my own and I will be okay. So being happy with yourself, being comfortable in your own skin, feeling as if you don't need another person to complete you, okay? So I do feel that's definitely coming through for you. On the work front, definitely new projects. Trying to see if there's anything else I can pick up on the work front. I do feel that for some reason, for all the signs in October, there is a huge, just huge surge of energies regarding relationships. I mean, the Lover's card has fallen out for like multiple signs, so it's a little strange. And also the Ace of Wands too. So I colder, so I feel like psychologically, people just start coupling up, and it's like a biological need to couple up, mainly because the weather is getting colder. So it can be, conscious or subconsciously that we're coupling up, but I do feel across the board, a lot of signs are just coupling up. Um, Let me just see if there's anything coming through for you. I'm actually going to pull out a few more cards for you because I don't like the way this is looking. It looks to me very uneventful for some reason. It's like you're trying to get over the past, and you have. You're not feeling any regret, and then stall communication. It's just strange that they're reiterating the same message. So I'm actually going to pull out three more cards just to see what is it that you really need to focus on, or surprises that might be coming through for you. I just feel like, it should be the Ten of Wands in the reverse position. It feels like you're shedding your old skin and you're transforming into something else. It feels almost like that. And the process itself, for like Scorpios, for Leos, for fire signs in general, especially even water and fire signs, the transformation is very swift. Okay, fire signs, they just blaze through, and then they emerge, and then they've transformed. You don't see it happening in a process. With Scorpios, it happens instantaneously. It takes something very, very drastic to unsettle a Scorpio. So it has to be something very drastic to push them out of their comfort zone in order for them to transform. With Cancers, it's a very long, drawn out process. They're kicking and screaming along the way, but it will happen. But I do feel with Cancer, they withdraw into their shell, and then they become very antisocial during a major transformative process. And then you don't really see them, kicking and screaming. You don't see the process because they withdraw into themselves. Whereas like for Pisces, it just takes a really, really long time because you are kind of going back and forth, and you're kind of undecided, and you're trying to figure out, it's like when one thing happens, you feel like unsettled. And then it takes you like, a few days for you to get your grounding. And then the next phase of the change happens, and it takes you a few more days to get your grounding. So it's a very slow process, and I feel like that's what's happening here. It's a very slow process for you to realize that I'm in a good spot right now, and for you to realize that I don't really want to date people right now. And then by the end of the month, when this person comes through, and you're telling yourself, it takes like a really long time for you to realize, wow, that person is actually very attractive. Maybe I should date again. So it's a process. Everything happens in a series of long process. So that's why like the energy feels a little bit drawn out. But let me see three more cards just to see if there's anything we need to focus on. Okay, so a lot of you might have like recently moved out of your home environment. There might have been family members that have, there might have been like disagreements with family members, and you have recently moved out of one location. You might have shuffling back and forth between, two locations as well. And this is a month for you to, like when you're moving from one house to the next, your life seems very like transient. This is the month in which you're settling in. You're starting to decorate your surrounding. And there is like a place to put everything. So you're starting to play house. You're starting to um, furnish your house. You're also starting to make it into a home. And that's where the focus is. So that would make sense. That's where the all the energy is. It's kind of like, rather than expanding, you're contracting because you're trying to solidify your foundation, your home base first, because in the past it was very destabilized. I do feel for a lot of you, it's one of those months where it's like home and work, home and work, home and work, and a lot of responsibilities within the home, within the work. For a lot of you, if you are, like recently divorced, you're moving home and you're in a new home environment, and you're trying to get the lay of the land and also get the routine worked out. For a lot of you, I do feel, even if you are a male watching this, I do feel there's a very strong element of like being a homemaker. So, for example, you might have gone through a divorce, you might have moved house, you and the ex-wife might have, might have gone through some custody issues with the kids, and you're getting the kids for, the weekend or, a specified time. And I do feel that when it comes to these, you have to like learn how to be a homemaker, mainly because the ex-wife is no longer in the picture. The kids are there. You have to, do laundry. You have to learn to make them breakfast. You have to entertain them. You have to like, on top of that, you are also forced to take care of your own personal responsibilities on the work front. So it's just the energy is not one of expansion, even though the Empress is here, and the Empress is about ruling your domain. I do feel the Emperor is like conquest and expansion. The energy for this month is more inward, and it's more home focused. It's more about stabilizing, solidifying, and just creating a warm, cozy environment from a very minimal. It's almost like you have to create something out of nothing, basically. And if you look around her, she's in the wilderness, so there are definitely resources, but she's going to have to create a home from scratch, So that's what I'm sensing for this month. So it's a very um, it's stable. I do feel that it is stable. It's not the most exciting, but I do feel, after the past 3 months that a lot of you have been struggling with, especially I know that you were affected by that lunar eclipse. So this is actually welcomed energy that's coming through, and it's soothing. So make the most of it, okay? Focus on the home, decorate your home, as well as making it livable, cleaning up, doing housekeeping and things like that. It's actually going to give you a very strong peace of mind. So a lot of you might have transitioned from one home to the next, and you're trying to create that sense of balance for yourself. A new home is definitely coming in, and you're going to be quite happy, okay? So Pisces, take care of yourself. Have a very safe. My website can be found below, as well as my availability, okay? It's all available on the website. So just click on the website, and all the information should be there, as well as how to book appointments, how to, make payments via PayPal. But it's also, I do have a summary as to how to best phrase your questions, okay? So just look through that. Have a wonderful month. I will be back in 2 weeks. I'll see you then. Take care.